Pre-order the Clownfish TV comic book right now on Indiegogo. Go to clownfishtvcomic.com. That's clownfishtvcomic.com. This is a fun collection of all new comic strips based on dumb stuff we've said on the show. Again, that's clownfishtvcomic.com. You're gonna have to hurry. We're only taking pre-orders for a limited time. Now we're gonna get back into the show. Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Neon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And we're going to talk about the Hollywood writers' strike. We're going to talk about how Hollywood writers are concerned that AI is going to cross the picket line.
Yeah, I mean, I don't blame them on that one.
It's scary. We're going to give an example of just how frighteningly good AI can be, very basic AI when it comes to generating scripts. We're going to use Star Wars as an example. I actually had ChatGPT generate an alternate Disney sequel trilogy.
It was funny this morning. I got up and I come out and there's Neon slamming back cups of coffee and he's like, I got AI to rewrite Star Wars. It's actually pretty good. And I was like, do you need to go back to bed? No, you got to see this. Oh my God, I'm writing about it right now. And it's gulp, 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 gulp coffee. I'm like, okay. And I walk away slowly.
In 30 minutes time, I got ChatGPT to spit out a rough draft, a plot outline for a cohesive Star Wars sequel trilogy based on some of the things that George Lucas said he wanted to put in that trilogy. And by God, it sounds better than what Disney gave us.
Well, it wouldn't take much, to be fair.
But I'm like, if one guy with AI can do that, how the hell did all of the writers at Lucasfilm not think to at least jot down the basic outline of each movie as they were planning this trilogy?
Yeah, I still can't get that. And the people that were saying, that's not true, that's impossible. They have an overreaching story arc. And then they got to the Rise of Skywalker and like, oh my God, guys, they didn't have a plan. And I'm like,
oh my God.
Anyway.
So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about how they're dragging poor Jenna Ortega.
Again?
They're dragging her into the conversation, the writer's strike, because she dared ask questions of these Hollywood writers like, hey, why are you having Wednesday Addams do this when this is not a very Wednesday Addams thing?
You mean, oh yeah, like Henry Cavill does too,
yeah.
and that he's toxic because
so he's toxic.
Yeah, he was like, wait, that doesn't track with the characters at all.
So we're gonna talk a little bit about that too, because this is gonna get really, really ugly, because I think we're starting to see where not everybody, but where a lot of these writers are in the grand scheme of things. Current year, again, this is not 2007. It's a very different landscape. There are a lot of options for entertainment, and I don't think they're going to get what they want. The studios might make some concessions, but AI is here to stay, whether you like it or not. It's just a matter of how much is it going to be allowed to do. And I think we're going to see smaller writers' rooms because the budgets aren't there. Not everybody's working on a Cheers or a Seinfeld or a
right.
Friends.
They're not.
You know?
There's streaming services and there's a lot more shows than before, but they're canceling a lot because there's too many that don't perform. And you still have your big performers, just like you did back in the day, and they've hired way too many writers compared to what they need moving forward with the shrinking of the industry.
Mm-hmm. So let's talk about the shrinkage.
Mm-hmm.
Before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. You'll get a woohoo if you do.
Woohoo!
I promise you, even though we are just bobbing cartoon heads, we are not AI.
No, we're not AI. And the thing is, I that's the one that and the residuals. I kind of agree with them on, because the AI, I know with artists has been a really touchy subject. I mean, we work in the art field ourselves, and it is a scary thing. And I think there's a lot of, not just in life in general, it's moving at a pace that's so fast, and we don't have checks and balances in place. And it is concerning where AI is going. So I am one of those people who are like, I think AI is a useful tool when used as a tool, but I think it's going to outgrow that use very quickly, and then we should be concerned.
Yeah, and I agree with that. And I made some comments on Twitter, and I wasn't trying to pour salt in the wound, but I'm like, I remember when a lot of these white collar workers, a lot of programmers and writers and journalists, when they were all dunking on blue collar workers,
learn to code.
losing their jobs because of technology moving forward, jobs being taken away.
That's true.
It's like, oh my God, you're going to lose your jobs. Just learn the code there, coal miner. And now you're in the same situation. I mean, this is...
And then they scream that it's going to happen to you too someday. It already has.
It already has.
You're like the last one to get it. I'm sorry.
That is my takeaway. Like, look, I am not trying to be a dick, but... again, looking at these Hollywood writers, knowing what they get paid, and looking at the landscape, I'm like, you are complaining now because it affects you, but you get paid way more than blue collar workers. The average blue collar worker gets paid to do significantly less, and your job, frankly, isn't as essential. So that's kind of where I'm at with it. Now, that being said, if you're bringing it and you're making the studio a lot of money, get that money if you can.
I agree.
But a lot of people that are the loudest haven't done anything in years.
That's just what happens. It's like, I'm a grunt writer. I don't get jack shit work because I'm an activist first and writer second.
Yeah.
Well, not even a writer. I'm an activist. And whenever I work on shows, those shows do shit. And I don't understand why. I should get paid more. You should demand I get to be in the room and keep my job. That's what I have a problem with. The demands about, more writers and people that aren't performing who have to be hired too at a higher rate. Is absolute garbage that no other industry is that going to work.
Yeah. So let's talk about this because they're dunking on Jenna Ortega. And like, look, I don't know what she's like in person. I have no idea. But it does sound to me like it was a Henry Cavill situation where...
Well, she was right.
Yeah, she was right. And Tim Burton actually is like, yeah, I'd work with her again in a heartbeat. Like,
he didn't think she was a problem.
No.
And she was right.
She basically told the writers she did not understand why they were making... Wednesday Addams do things that were completely out of character for her, and she had problems with it, right? So she's like, there were times on the set where I almost became unprofessional in a sense, where I just started changing lines. She was on a podcast, she said this. And then, of course, the writer called her out publicly on Twitter. The script supervisor thought I was like going with something, and then I would have to sit down with the writers, and they would be like, wait, what happened to this scene? And I'd have to go through and explain why I couldn't do certain things. Writers took umbrage with this admission at the time, and some of them held on to the grudge. Jenna Ortega better be back from New York for her afternoon shift on the picket line. Writer Nick Adams of BoJack Horseman tweeted following Ortega's appearance at the Met Gala red carpet on Monday. Karen Joseph from Yellow Jackets retweeted the comment, rewriting is writing. See you at the line, Jenna. And then here's this guy, Brandon Cohen. Disney Channel's just roll with it. Not even the writers that were affected, by the way.
Yes.
With the sign that read, without writers, Jenna Ortega will have nothing to punch up. You're just picking on a Latinx woman. What is wrong with you?
Yeah, right. No, look, she was not wrong, and the show succeeded, and it might have been because of some of the changes. Because when we read Time, you can go find the video. Some of the things they were doing, I was like, yeah, I don't blame her. That's stupid. She would totally never do that.
Yeah, they were trying to give her like a more overt romantic subplot, and again, a lot of the same concerns. As I understand, Henry Cavill had with The Witcher. It deviated from the source material. It was out of character for his character. And
And these people that are complaining and making comments aren't even the ones doing it, but they're just sitting here on the picket line yelling. And they're the ones screaming they demand more money. And she had nothing to do with any of this. It's just, wow. That's just...
petty.
Petty. Well, I think that sums up a lot of these people and their behavior.
And the thing is that in her case, she basically proved that and it's a case-by-case basis, but like the star of the show actually knew more about the character than the union writers working on this show.
Well, that happens often, doesn't it? You bring these people in without, they don't give a shit. They're going to bring in their activism and everything else with it, and their modern sensibilities. And then when stuff doesn't perform, then they're shrinking shows and getting rid of stuff because it's not performing. They demand money. I should get to stay employed. You have to bring me in that writer's room and pay me all these high rates, even if I myself have done nothing and ruined things.
So let's talk about this situation with AI, because this is a very different situation than where we were in 2007. Mm-hmm. It was inconceivable that you could just have computers generating scripts
that were good. Back
then, you needed a room full of monkeys to make it go. And now you can just have a chat bot. But this is Amy Webb, the founder and CEO of Future Today Institute. She said, it's already happening that basically shows are being written by AI, and Hollywood studios are seriously considering it. I can't imagine why. She notes, I've had a couple of high-level people ask, if a strike does happen, how quickly could they spin up an AI system to just write the scripts? And they're serious. They're serious.
Yeah, probably.
And, you think that the AI is not that good, but the reality is that the AI is pretty good. The AI can, in a lot of cases, reconstitute things, but it also, if you tell it specifically, give me a show with X, Y, Z parameters and make it something that, people are going to like, it will do just that. And in fact, I attempted it with Star Wars. Mm-hmm. And this was just an experiment. I'm like, well, what would have happened if Lucasfilm had access to AI before they started filming the Star Wars trilogy? And just a reminder, by the way, this is what everybody wanted. And Star Trek did it better.
Yes, that's true.
That was kind of funny. But so let's go here. So I said, hey, let's pretend that Disney did not create any more Star Wars movies after Return of the Jedi. Could you speculate what George Lucas would have written for episodes 7, 8, and 9 and summarize each hypothetical film in one paragraph? Sure, I can do that. So this is just, talking about how, according to interviews and statements, here's what it was for. Here's speculation. Episode 7, The Force Unleashed.
Okay.
Set several decades after the events of Return of the Jedi, Episode 7 would introduce a new group of heroes, including a young Jedi named Kira and a former stormtrooper named Sam. Now, Kira and Sam were actually the characters that eventually became Finn and Rey, right? But it's interesting that the AI takes them in a totally different direction. Together, they embark on a quest to discover the origins of the Force and unravel a plot by a mysterious new villain who seeks to manipulate the midichlorians to gain ultimate power. The reason they're bringing the midichlorians up is that's something George Lucas said he wanted to explore, which might have been part of the reason why it wound up in the dumpster, right? Episode 7, Rise of the Sith. In the second installment, Kira and Sam continue their journey as they're joined by a new ally, a wise old Jedi named Ben. They discover the ancient Sith homeworld and encounter a group of rogue Sith who have been in hiding for centuries. Kira must confront her own inner darkness and temptations as she battles to prevent the Sith from rising again and destroying the galaxy.
But she wasn't just automatically gifted and could do everything?
Oh, no, wait till we get to the last one. She actually has to earn it.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay.
Episode 9, Balance of the Force. In the final chapter, Kira, Sam, and Ben, I bet it's Luke. I don't know. Or it's Luke's kid. Ben unite with a coalition of rebels and former Imperials to launch a final assault on the Sith stronghold. In a climactic battle, Kira faces off against the main villain, who has been revealed to be a powerful Force user who seeks to achieve ultimate balance in the galaxy by wiping out all life. Kira must use all of her training and the power of the Force to defeat the villain and restore balance to the galaxy. All of her training.
Yeah, right.
That's speculation. Here's from episode 7. The Force is more than just a power. It's a connection to everything, and that means we have a responsibility to protect it. Sam says, I used to think I was just a number, but I now know I can be something more. I can be a hero. Episode 8. Ben says, the Sith believe that strength comes from the power to dominate others, but true strength comes from the power to lift others up. That kind
of goes along with what they were trying to do, though. So
yeah.
They shouldn't be too mad about that.
Kira says, the dark side may be tempting, but it only leads to destruction. The light side may be difficult, but it leads to something greater. Balance. Episode 9, Balance of the Force. Villain. See, we don't know who this villain is yet. Villain says balance is not about light or dark. It's about destroying everything that stands in the way of true harmony. That's a lot deeper than Snoke.
Yeah.
Just like, we're just going to kill everything in there. We balance the Force.
Palpatine.
Yeah. Oh, I asked if Palpatine shows up, and they said there's no purpose for Palpatine. Kira said the Force flows through all things, even in the darkest places. There's still hope. Sam says,
that one, actually.
Yeah, we may not have chosen this fight, but we'll finish it for the sake of the galaxy.
I like that one too. Those are good lines.
So, do older versions of Han, Luke, and Leia appear together in this hypothetical trilogy? If so, can you describe that scene and what some of the dialogue might have been like? In this hypothetical trilogy, George Lucas indicated he would have focused on new characters. So here's where the classic characters could have come into play, and they do have a scene together, according to the AI.
Okay.
In episode 8, Rise of the Sith, the heroes might seek out Luke Skywalker, who has been in self-imposed exile for years. Well, that sounds familiar,
so,
right?
Yeah, they are definitely taken from the Disney trilogy.
Oh, yeah. Upon reaching his secluded hideaway, they discover that he is not alone. Han Solo and Leia Organa are there with him, and they have been working with Luke to uncover the secrets of the Force and the Sith. The scene might start with a tense silence as the heroes and the older trio stare at each other, assessing the situation. Then Han Solo breaks the silence. Well, 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 look who's finally decided to join the party, says Han. Leia says, don't be rude, Han, they've come a long way to see us. And Luke says, welcome, my friends, I'm glad you're here. We could use all the help we can get.
Wait, he didn't just have green milk running down his beard and grabbing teats or something?
Grabbing the teats?
I mean...
Grab life by the teat. Oh, that would have been awesome. That would have been an awesome line. This sounds fan fiction. It's good to see you again, Luke. Can't sit around reminiscing. The galaxy needs us now more than ever. Han says, she's right. We've got a new enemy. Yeah, this is kind of lame. This is really lame. Luke says, I know, but we have something they don't. The power of the Force and the bond between us.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, still better than we got from Disney.
It is. Okay, so there's like all kinds of...
you asked it if it would have new characters. It said there would be, since it was George Lucas, there would be a bunch of new planets, vehicles, and characters.
New planets. We've got all kinds of new planets with descriptions of what the planets are. We've got new aliens with descriptions of what the aliens are. Now, again, this is AI. I don't know if it's taken from
somebody else,
other sci-fi and been like, there's this fanfic in it, New vehicles. Some of these, I think, were actually in the expanded universe. New side characters. So these are all new side characters. Now, here's where it gets really interesting. Because I'm like, okay, fine. That was a hypothetical, whatever. Let's pretend that The Last Jedi and the Rise of Skywalker never happened. Using just The Force Awakens and everything set up in The Force Awakens, how would you have written episode 8 and 9? Mr. or Ms.
You had to make money at the box office.
This is what I asked it. I said, The Last Jedi was a polarizing Star Wars film, continuing with the plot threads introduced in The Force Awakens. Could you rewrite a hypothetical episode 8 so it is more fan-pleasing and could potentially make more money at the box office than The Force Awakens did? Certainly, here's one possible rewrite that might have been more fan-pleasing and successful at the box office. Episode 8, Rise of the New Republic. The movie picks up immediately after the events of The Force Awakens. Rey has found Luke Skywalker on the hidden planet of Ahch-To and is trying to convince him to return to the fight against the First Order. Well, it sounds kind of like The Last Jedi, right? But meanwhile, Finn has been rescued from the brink of death by the New Republic, who are preparing for a major assault on the First Order. The movie focuses on the battle between the New Republic and the First Order, with Rey and Finn leading the charge alongside new allies. No Rose Tico. No Holdo. Meanwhile, Kylo Ren struggles with his internal conflict between the light and dark, while Supreme Leader Snoke seeks to turn him fully to the dark side. The movie would still feature Luke Skywalker. Again, this is designed to be more fan-pleasing and do better at the box office. But he would play a more active role in the story. He would not be depicted as a grumpy and disillusioned old hermit, but rather as a wise and powerful Jedi Master who has been training a new generation of Jedi on Ahch-To.
That makes sense, though.
When the First Order attacks the New Republic, Luke and his students join the battle, with Luke unleashing his full power and skill against the enemy.
That would have been good!
Isn't that interesting?
Oh,
That's all the AI thinks it would have taken to make more money than The Force Awakens. Another change would be to focus more on the original trilogy characters. Leia would play a more prominent role in the story, leading the New Republic's forces and providing guidance and support to the heroes. Han Solo would be alive and well. And how? I said picking up from The Force Awakens. Somehow Han Solo survived.
I would have been happier if he was well, but you know.
Well, I think they're probably thinking like, hey, just go back and change that ending. Han Solo would be alive and would be reunited with Chewie and his old friends. His reunion with Leia would be a touching moment, and his sacrifice in the final battle against the First Order would be an emotional moment for fans.
So they would have had him die then. It made more sense.
He dies twice.
He wasn't actually dead.
He wasn't, but now he was mostly dead. But now he's dead, right? Finally, the movie would feature more action and space battles, with the heroes fighting against the First Order and epic sequences that rival the classic battles of the original trilogy. There would still be room for character development and emotional moments, but the movie would prioritize thrilling action and adventure. Overall, this hypothetical version of Episode 8 would aim to provide more fan service and satisfy the expectations of audiences who wanted a more traditional Star Wars experience. With a focus on action, adventure, and beloved characters, the movie would have had a better chance of surpassing the box office success of The Force Awakens.
It kind of fell off a cliff after the first week or two.
Here's some memorable dialogue. Memorable dialogue from this hypothetical movie that didn't exist. Leia, the First Order will not stop until they have destroyed us all, but we will not give up. We will fight for what we believe in, no matter the cost. Luke, the Force is not a weapon to be wielded, but a power to be respected. Only by understanding its true nature can we hope to defeat our enemies. That's a very Luke Skywalker line, right? Mm-hmm. They might have lifted it from somebody else.
Yeah.
Somebody else.
Totally possible, by the way.
Like a comic
that's
book.
What AI does. Anyway.
This one's good, though. Han Solo. Well, look who's back from the dead. I always knew you had a tough streak in you, kid.
Yeah, that's a very Han Solo line.
Rey, I know I'm just a scavenger from Jakku, but I believe in the power of the Force, and I believe we can beat the First Order if we work together. Finn, I may have been a stormtrooper once, but I know what's right. And fighting alongside you all feels like the right thing to do.
That's actually not bad.
Yep. Kylo Ren, I feel the pull of the light within me, but I am not afraid. I gotta do my Am Driver. I feel the pull of the light within me, but I am not afraid. I will embrace. That's also my Eeyore too. I will embrace the darkness and crush all who stand in my way.
No, I love you. Don't do that again.
Supreme Leader Snoke, you are weak, Kylo Ren. You must choose your path and choose it quickly. The fate of the galaxy depends on it.
Just ask Grandpa. Just hold his helmet and he'll tell you what to do.
So Episode 9 basically says everybody gets together, and here's how it ends. The movie would feature epic space battles, lightsaber duels, and thrilling action, building up to a final showdown between the heroes and the villains. And apparently it just comes down to Kylo Ren and Snoke having a standoff, and the Imperials and the Rebels teaming up.
Well, if they get Lando, Wedge, Admiral Akbar. I mean, he didn't kill.
Akbar didn't die.
As fan favorite creatures like Wookiees and Ewoks. Without I think that'd be a little much, personally.
I think so.
I think that'd be a little much. But how's that any different than all the spaceships suddenly showing up? I mean, it's the same thing.
Right. To surpass the box office total of Avengers Endgame, the movie would need to have a strong marketing campaign and generate buzz and excitement among fans. It would also need to be a satisfying conclusion to the Star Wars saga, tying up loose ends and delivering a satisfying payoff to the characters and themes that audiences have come to love.
Because the AI says it didn't happen.
The AI says it didn't happen, right? Would Palpatine somehow return in this hypothetical movie? It's possible, but not necessary. Palpatine's return in The Rise of Skywalker was a controversial plot twist, and some fans felt like it undermined the established story and characters. In a hypothetical Episode 9 that aimed to be more fan-pleasing and less polarizing, it might have been better to avoid bringing back Palpatine. So there you go, guys. Like, look, I this is a very basic exercise, but I can totally see some suit being like, I want a movie that's going to make $500 million at the box office with XYZ thing. Spit me out a treatment. Yeah,
and then the writers you do have would take that, verify it wasn't taken from other places, and then work within those parameters or work within it and then make something good.
Yeah.
I mean, well, even now, like, there's a lot of places they already have scripts. They're moving forward, even though the writers are striking. Like, well, whatever.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, who's to say... who's to say that they're not just going to kind of low key start sneaking in AI generated scripts? I mean, I could see at some point in time, and look, they have the right to be concerned because
I don't disagree with them.
I don't disagree with that, but the flip side is you can't just like stop technology from moving forward either. You're gonna have to learn to live with it and put some guidelines.
They want to put parameters or guidelines in place, which I don't disagree.
But I could see it being like CG. I could see you coming up with like a rig and being like, okay, let's create an AI that is this character or knows how this character would think and act in situations. And then let's put this AI character into these situations and have the AI generate the reactions, the dialogue, you know what I'm saying?
Well, my thing is if they're going to put like a, use it, but put parameters on it or rubrics or something. My next thing is this, and they should start using it for writers they hire. If the writers have ever gone on the internet and been all about like, oh, I like to be polarizing, activism. I can't wait to shove my activism into something. Looking at you, the new Star Wars movie writer, or director, whoever it was. And it's like they would look at that. Those people should automatically get booted too, because that's what's going on.
Yeah.
There's good stories, people.
And it might be a case of if you do have an AI that has parameters that this is what this show's about, this is what these characters are like, the AI chat bot might even be like, hey, this character wouldn't say that. Based on everything we know about this character, based on the 6 seasons of the show so far, this is absolutely positively not something this character would ever say or do because there's no precedent for it at all in the show. In fact, it contradicts this episode and that episode and this episode, and this would never happen.
Right.
So it might actually be that they put the AI in place as a safety.
I don't know. Yeah, maybe, but then you have to be careful too because it is going to swipe from wherever it has.
Yeah.
I mean, it teaches itself from everything that's already been done. So.
Well, we'll see what happens. I don't think they're going to get what they want though. So we're going to wrap this up.
Yes. Fine.
Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, and we'll talk later.
Bye.
Help support the channel. Go to thereef.support and get early access to podcasts, videos, and other content. That's thereef.support.